Okay, there we go. Okay, welcome everyone to the Software Saturdays Fall 2021 info session. As a reminder, we're doing Vue.js. We're going to go over that in a couple of slides. But first, a little bit about the teaching staff for this semester. So my name is Hadi Ahmed. I'm currently a junior in computer engineering, and I'm the chair for this semester. This semester here. I've been with the program since 2019. I kind of was a mentor my freshman year, kind of kept going with it. I love it so much, and I've had a great chance to teach a lot of great people, some really cool subjects, web development, app programming, web stuff, basically all kind of modern software tools that people want to see and people want you to know in the real world. Our other three mentors this year are going to be Nishant Suresh, who could not be here right now. He's actually involved making sure no one goes to the wrong room by accident. Sam Faber, Sam is over there. He's currently a junior in web development. And John Denton, right over here. He is a freshman, I think FYE, right? FYE, yeah. And they'll be helping out with debugging code, teaching information, teaching you guys the actual presentations. All around, it's being a very useful help. So if you have any questions, please ask me or ask one of them. Everyone knows our curriculum pretty in depth, so they should be able to help you with basically anything you need. Okay, so about Software Saturdays. So as a quick reminder, Software Saturdays is a committee under the Purdue IEEE student branch. So Purdue IEEE is one of the largest student orgs on campus that does a lot of really cool things, from robotics to software development and programming to biotech and bioprosthetic devices to wireless technology to NFC readers, so basically everything you can think of in the realm of electronics, computing, hardware, whatever. We are a smaller subset of that. This kind of teaches web development to students like yourselves who want to learn useful skills that they don't get in their Purdue classes necessarily. And if you want to learn more, I recommend going to the Purdue IEEE website. It's a lot of, you can see all the committees there. There are a lot of, I think 13 of them. They do a lot of really cool stuff that you might be interested in else otherwise. As a reminder, we're also sponsored by the College of Engineering. So if you do complete the program, you do earn a certificate, and you can actually say that you were a part of a College of Engineering program on your resume or to a recruiter if that's something you choose to do. So what is Software Saturdays? We are a project-based learning program. What that really means is that we try to make sure that we're teaching by doing, since that is the best way to teach someone any kind of skill, especially a program. And so what the plan is, everyone will complete a project throughout the entire semester, kind of build up towards it week by week. And the project at the end of the 7 weeks will be a fully featured web app that has all the elements that recruiters want to see, CRUD actions, databases, front ends, user interactions, basically everything you need to make a modern web app, in the modern world, basically. And we teach, again, real world skills. If you're in a Compy or CS or Polytech degree, you might know that you don't teach this kind of stuff in classes, unfortunately speaking. And so this is kind of a great supplement to that to help you kind of learn these skills outside of your normal classroom setting. So this semester, we're teaching something called Vue.js. And if you've never heard of Vue, not a problem. Not too many people have, unfortunately. So you kind of know this here a little bit, but it's kind of similar to React.js. If you've ever heard of React, it's very similar to that, actually. Basically, it's a popular front-end JavaScript framework. What that really means is it's written in JavaScript and it's using JavaScript as kind of like to work with it, kind of like React, if you're getting familiar with that, to make web apps and websites. It can be super useful for portfolios or personal projects. And actually, the IEEE website was built using Vue. So if you want to see what you can do with Vue, look at no further than the IEEE website. It's, I think it looks pretty cool. I made it, but I could be a little biased here, so who knows. This semester, we're kind of going for more of a hybrid approach. As you can all see, we have both an online and an in-person component. So attend which one you want to do. I mean, I prefer you go in person, but obviously if you want to get online, no problem. I understand everyone has their own, their own comfort level. But we will still be recording all the sessions, so they will still be posted. Again, usually Sundays after the meeting times. And slides are always posted the day before, a few minutes before the meeting begins. To kind of follow along on your own, or kind of self-pace it if you don't want to stick around for a meeting break. And the other thing is we have review hours will be completely online just because it makes it easier for everyone to kind of figure it out. Review hours are kind of our 1 hour, once a week, 1 hour, where you can kind of come in with any kind of questions about either the course, the material we've learned, or even just general questions about programming, web dev in general. We do share it with every Boilermaker Engineer Codes program. So you may be in a meeting with some people who are doing some Python debugging, but it's not an issue, just kind of figure out for a couple of minutes. And again, if any questions, please come to review hours. Not many people do, but the people who do, honestly, I think they learn more than they would just not coming in the first place. Cool. So as a quick reminder, our learning sessions we're going to be starting next week on the 18th. They will be at 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. That's not the most accurate time. They usually get up at usually done by 5. So 5:30 is kind of like the last case you want to stick around a little bit longer, all Eastern time, of course. And we will be holding them in Hampton 1144. So right down there, basically down the hall, essentially in the room down the hall. Or again, online, the meeting link will be in the email I send out to you guys and on the Slack as well afterwards. You take a picture of it. Again, this will all be an email at the very end too, so don't worry about not getting a photo of it just yet. So we're planning to try to go to 2 tracks this semester. If you were part of the program the last couple of semesters at all, you might know we have sometimes, typically in the fall, offered a advanced or intermediate or further learning kind of track to our curriculum. That's typically intended for people who already know some HTML and JavaScript, kind of want to jump straight into the view and learn more advanced content. We might not have time to cover it on normal sessions. So as a result, we have both a beginner and an intermediate track. Choose which one you want to do. You can kind of swap between two if you feel like you want to move up or down, no problems. And if you don't know anything at all, obviously beginner, but if you feel like you know some JavaScript, you kind of feel comfortable working with a different framework maybe, intermediate is probably the best one for you. We jump straight into the view right there. So here's a quick curriculum outline for our beginner track. We have 5 planned lessons and 2 project days. And in the 5 planned lessons, we're going to be doing, the first week is HTML and CSS, then JavaScript, intro to Vue, some more Vue, and then finally we end off with databases. So you can see it's a pretty well-structured curriculum. We kind of learn from the basics to the more advanced concepts. So again, even if you have no experience, I highly recommend trying the beginner program because we will teach you everything you have to know. And no one is expecting you to become, a master developer by the end of these 5 weeks. As long as you know enough to finish the project, that's really what we're aiming for everybody here. If you feel like you want to go a bit more advanced, a bit more technical, I recommend the intermediate track. So this one, as you can see, we kind of skipped the first 2 weeks because we assume you guys already know that kind of information. Straight into introduction to Vue, then some more Vue, kind of like the beginner track there. Then kind of diverge. We go to something called NPM and single file components. Again, this, if you know React, this will probably be the week where you kind of feel like click together for you the best because it's very similar to React. Finally, go to Vue router, again, kind of like a React router if you're familiar with that. And at the very end, we talk about databases again, kind of bring them back together for the last week of the course. The project days are going to be the same time. So again, it's a 7-week curriculum. We are taking a week off for fall break, so no worries there. And the actual project is going to be the exact same for both. It'll be a to-do app. It's like, a to-do list, basically, using both Vue and a NoSQL database hosted on Firebase. If you are in the advanced track, there are going to be some more requirements, of course, along with the project. But of course, the project is designed to be doable for everyone, no matter how comfortable you feel with the material. As long as you come to every meeting, and if you need to in the office hours, you'll be more than happy to complete the program. Last couple semesters, easily, I would say 75% of people finish the program, got a certificate, get the project done. So as long as you feel like you're coming to sessions and you can actually understand the material, there should be no issues with the project. And if you do finish it, you are eligible for the College of Engineering certification. So the certification is basically from the College of Engineering. There'll be a very official Purdue logo. It'll come from Purdue. I cannot affirm us from Purdue. And it will have a QR code on it. If you scan the QR code, it will actually take you to the Purdue website to validate the certificate is actually valid. So no matter what, you can be sure that on a resume, you can put Purdue College of Engineering, which is obviously an amazing thing to have, no matter what major or hobby you might want to do. And to a recruiter, having both the project and the certification shows that you both know the language and can actually use the language, oftentimes 2 very different things. So as a quick reminder to everyone, follow us on Slack, right there's the link. It is basically softwaresaturdays.slack.com. You will have to make a new account. It's kind of tricky if you don't know how Slack works. It's kind of confusing, unfortunately. If you cannot log on for whatever reason, that sometimes happens, send me an email and I will add you guys or send you an invite to be joined privately. No issues there. It's happened more than one occasion for whatever reason. And you should be, if you're making a new account, You should be auto subscribed to these 3 channels, but if you're not, please make sure you are. They are announcements, general discussion, and the fall 2021 Vue.js channel. Announcements, I'm going to post stuff like the Zoom links. Then those just kind of this general chat for everyone, kind of get to know it a little bit more. And then finally, fall, we're going to post more Vue-specific questions along with the recordings and the slides as they kind of come up. With a few more seconds for the Slack. Again, if you're online too, please put any questions you have in the chat, or I can just unmute yourself and I will try to answer them as I see them come in. Has everyone been able to join the Slack or is kind of working on that right now? Anyone need more time on the slide? Nope. All right, cool. So that's kind of all I have on the info for the course. Like I said, it's really not too long this week. If you have not yet signed up, please fill out the form. The link is right there. I'll post these slides. Actually, no, yeah. An easier link is also on the Purdue IEEE website if you don't want to navigate this messy URL there. Just go to purdueieorg/software, and the sign up form will be there as well if you don't want to type out that messy string there. If you need more questions, again, our website's right there, or you can just email us at software-saturdays@purdueieorg. They'll come straight to me so I can make sure that everyone has all the info they have or any kind of question they might have answered. Were there any questions about the program, certificate, curriculum? I don't know. What else? What's up? Yeah.
How deep will we get into Firebase?
The question was, how deep are we going to go into Firebase? Not too deep. We're just going to be basically using a real-time database to basically host our database of sorts. If you want to go more advanced, I highly recommend using the authentication tool. It's how you can basically make like a user sign-in process. It's actually super simple. If you're on the intermediate track, it kind of flows pretty nicely with that actually. It won't be a requirement to do so, but that's kind of where we're going to go with that. Any other questions? What's up?
Will the recorded video be uploaded to YouTube?
Yes, it will. So the question was, where will the videos be uploaded? That's going to be the Purdue IEEE YouTube page. It's the same page we used the last couple of semesters. So if you're kind of familiar with that, it's the same page. And if you don't know where that is, I'll post a link to it in the Slack, like I said, every week. And if you want to see past sessions, where Vue last semester or React the semester before that, all those recordings are going to be on the IEEE YouTube page as well. Yes. Of course. So the question was like hours per week. Really, just the 2 hours a week in your lesson. We try to design it so you don't have to spend any time outside. We try, of course, but we're not always the best at that guessing. You spend no other time outside of the course working on the actual assignments. But of course, if you do need help, office hours are about an hour a week, but kind of drop in, drop out. Whenever you have a just kind of come whenever you have a free moment and ask a question and kind of leave whenever you get answered. So I would say most people probably spend about no more than 2.5 hours a week on this. It's very doable, I think, with classwork and exams and projects. I mean, Sam could tell you, because Sam actually was a member of Software Saturdays for the past 2 semesters. So you can tell him a bit more about how long it takes to just per week.
Yeah, per week, project days is 2 hours, and then sometimes a few hours outside of the project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may spend a few more hours on the project day just because you got to work on the project. It's a bit more complicated, but overall, again, it's very doable. Cool. Any other questions? Online too, same thing. You guys can just drop them in the chat. Well, if that's the case, then I'm basically done. So if you were a little bit late to the meeting, if you could please fill out the attendance form really quickly. That's just to check SAO for attendance because, check your guidelines and all that. Sorry, question over here. No, the certificate is completely free. As long as you submit to me a valid project before the deadline, which is typically about 2 weeks after our last session, I will automatically forward your information to the College of Engineering certificate. Yes, they will email you usually within a couple of weeks afterwards, kind of how long it takes for them to kind of process their backends. Yes.
Yeah, is there a recommended ID?
So recommend IDE. IDE recommendation, I don't have any. I use VS Code the most, only because I love it, because I use it for all my coding basically. But really, whatever you're the most comfortable in is the best IDE. There's no, singular better option. I have a question online here. Will there be Zoom sessions for next week, or do we have only the recording on YouTube? There will be both a Zoom and a in-person option for all learning sessions. The link to the Zoom meeting will be in an email sent out to you guys, typically the day before the session. And then I'll also have the meeting information in the announcements channel of Slack. So kind of keep an eye on those two places if you cannot find it. Yes.
Will we have anything centralized on GitHub that we'll be collaborating with, or is it all independent?
Great question. So yeah, in terms of centralized code, all of our example code is on GitHub. So we have a repository for each semester. We make a new one every year, or semester rather. And you'll have all of our examples and demos. So both of them actually, any checkpoints you do as well will be on there as well. You also get a starting template for the project, so you kind of know where to begin. But in terms of like central collaboration, not really, since it's meant to be an individual project. You don't want to, too much collaboration going on in that. Of course, you can talk to people, but like no sharing code is kind of early rule, hard and fast rule. Good question, guys. Good questions. Well, that's it from me. You all can all free to enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your weekend here. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, again, please email me or talk to me afterwards. I'll be here for a couple more minutes. If not, I hope to see everyone next week. Again, it'll be either Hampton 1144 down the hall or online on Zoom.
So like, what's the actual duration of the project?
Yeah, so the project, we have 2 work days inside class, or class, you want to put a duration right there.
So like we do work while the class hours?
Yeah, basically, we'll have the 2 hours open to anyone to come in and work on the project, ask questions, get help, whatever. And then the project itself will be due usually about a week or 2 after the end of our in-person session. But we still have office hours. You can still come and ask questions and ask help. And of course, Slack is always available.
So do we have like homework due every week?
There's no homework. No. The only deadline, or I guess only deadlines are prior to deadline. It's going to probably be Thanksgiving break, or week before Thanksgiving, probably. So I'm thinking
like
about the
7 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, you can start looking at it now if you want to. But the requirements won't be published until the 5th week of the course. No problem, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
I'll do enough computer. I'm not super like computer hardware, but having enough to be able to work with.
Hey, how you doing?
Do you know when the thing's coming out?
Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can meet it next week.
Works for me.
And then pump it up.
Oh yeah. Cool, no problem, see you. What's up?
Just wondering, so how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing Software Saturdays this is my 3rd year now. I was a mentor my freshman year, 2017, and then I became the chair of it in 2020 when the old chair graduated. Here's a programming and web dev, a year, 2 years. I kind of learned it 6 weeks, of course, actually. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing where I know a lot of web dev, but I want to do chip designs professionally. So my skill sets are very vaguely very often extremes of the hardware spectrum. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I guess I feel like I'm starting to. I know some web dev stuff, but I don't know any of the hardware stuff.
Right. Yeah. No. Honestly, it's good to have the full spectrum of knowledge. And I know it really helps me out just because I know everything from how the chip works to how high level your website works. I kind of can figure out everything in between.
So with this, what will Firebase be doing? Like I've messed with Vue and a lot of the front end stuff.
Yeah.
But I haven't messed with Firebase at all.
Yeah. So Firebase is kind of it's a free service by Google, kind of like AWS. I hate to call it AWS but it's AWS like in some ways. It has a lot of really nice services you can use. So there are at least 20. We're only going to cover the database part of it. It's basically going to host a NoSQL database. If you ever heard of NoSQL, the way that Firebase does it is basically a gigantic JSON object, essentially, that we just kind of pull from and push to. But other cool parts of it are the authentication module, document storage, Google Analytics, file storage, CDN kind of work, hosting. Basically, like I said, it's a mini AWS essentially.
Okay. And it's free because of Google.
It's free, yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
actually really good for kind of prototyping stuff out because they have so many things that we actually use. I don't say we, but the industry actually does use in the real world, like in authentication, right? No one does their own authentication. It's a horrible idea. So Firebase does it for you, have the proper algorithms, the proper encryption.
So yeah, that brings up another good point. What are
Yeah.
we using for the backend?
We don't have a backend.
No.
We're just going to begin. We're just going to be pushing and pulling the data from a database.
Okay.
There was talk about maybe doing a full stack development next semester, but for this particular semester, we're only going to be doing just the front end that connects to it.
Okay, cool. Excited for all this.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool program. I mean, these two actually, Nishant and Sam did it last semester. They can like tell you all about it. I think it's pretty fun, but again, I'm kind of biased here.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah. So both of you have finished this completely? Have you worked on any other projects since?
I did a lot of Angular over the summer in internship.
Oh,
So I actually don't have a lot of experience with Vue, but all frameworks are kind of the same.
Yeah.
JavaScript.
Actually, apparently Sam changed majors because of this, partly.
Well, partly, yeah.
Partly.
Okay, that's a good thing to ask about, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was in computer engineering the past 2 years, and this is the first semester I'm qualified at. So
So like you swapped computer science or you're still computer engineering?
I switched majors. Like I'm not computer engineering. I'm at the Polytechnic University now instead of electrical engineering.
Okay, yeah, dang.
A
Because
lot more design oriented. I'm
definitely
more interested in the styles of the front end, like more heavy CSS. Styling.
Are you working with any, I guess, CSS helper frameworks? Like with
I've not
Vue,
yet. I know there's Bootstrap.
Bootstrap.
There's a lot of other ones.
Vue has Vuetify.
Right, but we're not going to cover the CSS too much, only because that's probably the easiest thing to learn. And honestly, Bootstrap is really good.
Yeah.
People hate on it, but it makes it very easy to prototype and even build sites. For example, IEEE through and through just Bootstrap. Because
That was really.
oh yeah, I am not trying to figure out how to make CSS myself. So what's that? Let do it for us. What's up?
I just meant like
Oh, like it? Yeah, I think it's pretty good, but of course, I made it, so I'll spend way too much time on that thing, dude.
So have you worked on anything since?
So in the summer, I just did a lot of mechanical stuff. Right now, it's more with some Python and data analytics stuff. So yeah, it's mostly been we're doing a lot of Python stuff and working with C. That's really been my focus over the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, yeah. Are you enjoying that more than you did web development?
Or so I don't think web development because it's more like on the surface sort of thing, like because I've had more experience with front end than with back end.
Yeah, people can look at it and like, oh yeah, that looks cool.
I'm also a bit more aesthetics oriented sort of person. So I really like designing stuff and doing that. But I'm sort of focusing on going ahead with data analytics and working with that. It was my major. Oh my God, this is fucking up. Sorry. Yeah, and so yeah, my current focus is also on that. So I'm trying to get both of them up.
Yeah, I see. Well, that's really interesting because I pretty much only started to learn about web development like this last summer. So like, seeing like how some people are interested in like they had an idea of what computer engineering was, but then like, oh, I like web development. That's
Yeah, no, I think the best part of web dev in general is because you can see your results of your work instantaneously. Hit Control R, you're basically, you're good. But like say doing data analytics, it's really hard to tell if your program's working and how it's working to begin with. It's much more difficult to debug. Yeah, and I will say that this program and web dev in general and CompE degrees in general are very versatile. Actually, the 3 mentors who were there my freshman year, they're all gone now, they'll get graduated now. All 3 are currently in the web dev field, I want to say. One's in Salesforce, and I forgot the other 2. I don't know who the other 2 are right now, but yeah. The actual old chair, my chair when I was my freshman, he actually left to get a job at Salesforce, partly because he loved web dev so much, he kind of just made it feel automatic.
Salesforce, jeez.
Yeah, and I was smart. I was pretty smart.
And you're a freshman.
I am.
How'd you get here?
So really just checking out IEEE, and I was talking to the, and I mentioned I was interested in that experience with programming. They were looking for mentors, so I got in. So like I'm pretty much entirely self-taught. I started to get into like robotics, as you mentioned. The nice thing web development, you can test users like in robotics. It's kind of a pain because a lot of the times, the program works, like it compiles fine, but then like there's the real world like friction and drag. So like all the skidding and stuff. So that was a pain. So this is nice because you don't have to worry about friction, stuff like that. So and like the most recent thing I worked on, I think is I basically was working like scraping a forum, like make a bot to like a certain user's post, and then like we can do that to manipulate it. So like if you're on a forum and there's a lot of posts and like you're curious what one specific person has to say, every time they make a post, you can ding. I mean, like obviously that's not super useful, but you can keep expanding, and like then you can go to other websites and search for different stuff. And then so like I also probably shouldn't say this, but so for high school, like seniors, so my online classes, I'd write a JavaScript program, like at a certain time, log myself into my class, and then I'd sleep. It's like yeah. So like that, that was kind of cool. So like yeah, practical fun stuff. Yeah. The JavaScript. So that was
it. Was using Selenium or?
To be honest, I just ran a lot. A little bit actually. I ran a lot of because it was just easy to test.
I see.
Like to know dev tools.
No. Oh, okay. So just Windows PowerShell scripts to go through.
So I would for the forum scraping, I would literally just open up Chrome and then there's a console and then dev tools. I would paste code in there and then run it. And then obviously I could export it, like I get like a Raspberry Pi and run a server. I didn't get that advanced. And then you're talking about money. It was really just about for me it was just a process of learning and playing around with it versus just because at the end of the day I don't really need like search posts. It was more just having fun learning. So
no, people sleep on dev tools, but like they're way too powerful for how easy it is to access them.
Yeah, it's easy to
you can do a lot of cool stuff with it.
Yeah, that was it. I mean that and W3 schools because I'm almost completely self-taught. I have other than like a Java class in high school, it was AP CSA. I've never taken a class. All just me reading APIs. So it makes the nice thing. It makes it easy to pick up other languages. I just go to W3 schools and scan through it. That's the only way I know how to learn. So that's useful.
That's really cool. Yeah, I wish I was better at that.
It takes time. I mean, it takes longer. The first time took way longer than it should have. You don't have anyone to tell you, hey, just do this. It's all. Other than Stack Dev, of course, that's always, that was my go-to. But that's fun, kind of. It's useful. It's useful being able to just read an API and learn. Because that's how a lot of people stop. And then you don't have to necessarily pay people to take like a course. It's like I also looked at Xcode, iOS app level, and Swift. So that was just reading APIs. That was different. Xcode was not.
I've heard bad things about Xcode. I've never used it, so I can't.
I actually did have to go. I went through Coursera and looked at videos because document. I was like, I don't understand. I'm like, what? They're getting these. It was so outdated. I didn't know what they're talking. I could understand it. I read the Swift. That was fine. But I just actually using Xcode. The documentation garbage.
I've heard that about Xcode a lot. I know when we did my first semester with Android development with like Android Studio and Java, and oh god. Android development is the most painful thing I've ever done in my life. It's highly documented. Features are so annoying to figure out. And Java itself is a horrible language to do everything in. So
I'm almost certain they're done on purpose.
I don't know. I cannot say.
Certain. They just make it bad.
Yeah.
Just so that way you just give up.
That's why React Native exists.
By what?
That's why React Native exists to cross-compile it to.
Never messed with Android, but
don't. Is my only word. It's my only word. Did you try? You were the Android one, right? Didn't you do the Android for a little bit?
What's it?
Android that freshman year.
Oh yes.
It was horrible. I remember that.
It was interesting. Like there was a lot of boilerplate stuff. It was just like, just put this in. Don't worry about it. Just put it in. So
yeah, that's
a bad way to learn code. Just put it in. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that does a lot of good. Good luck using it.
Yeah, YouTube videos for the salvation. Like those YouTube videos for the tree and everything.
yeah.
I just feel like, so, okay, how do I make this interaction happen? And scroll down maybe 2-3 pages in, that this one guy, like a video that's poorly narrated, like audio is complete shy, if you pardon my French, and 30 views maybe, but he's got the exact solution, and I'm like, oh my God, this man is a savior.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like, yeah, that's programming in a nutshell for you. I mean, like,
Well, thank you guys.
yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming by. What's your name? Sorry, I didn't catch your name there.
Aaron.
Aaron. Oh, I remember it from the, yeah, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to getting something from my resume.
100%, yeah. I know it's for sure looks really good on resumes.
Practical skills.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, so same time next week?
Yep, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, same time, with in a different room.
All right, cool. Thank you, all of you.
Cool, no problem. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good week.
Let me kill this recording.